Hello, hello, and welcome back to Lakita's Room. I am your host, Lakita Brewington. Thank you guys for taking time out of your schedule to sit with me each time I release an episode. I don't take it for granted. I want to just ask you guys up front, if you don't mind, take a moment to follow me. I am available on all digital platforms. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, all of that good stuff, okay? So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel or checked me out on my other social media outlets, please do me a favor and connect with me there. You never know what you may find, okay? So last episode, I talked about how we have to learn how to trust God in a low place. And I wanted to be very honest about being in those places and having those valley experiences, because I don't want anyone to get the misconception that you being a believer or you being a follower of Jesus Christ, that your life is going to be without trial, your life is going to be pain-free, that your life is just going to be a walk in the park every day. And for those who may think that that's the case, I hate to break it to you, that's not real life, and that's not Christianity, okay? Our life is filled with a lot of persecution, transition, opposition, and just things that could throw us off course if we aren't careful. So that's why I wanted to just be very honest with you guys, to let you know about me being in a low place and how I navigated through those things. I can honestly say, just thinking about the episode and just thinking about things that I faced throughout my life, that there have been plenty of times that I found myself in a low place. And honestly, I'm thankful that I was able to be candid with you all about those experiences, because I always say that if you can learn a lesson from me, then I'm doing my part. My goal is always to be transparent and just to help you all just glean from the path that I'm on. And I honestly pray that everything that I say, even if you don't learn a lesson from everything that I'm teaching you, my prayer is that there is something that you may be able to find. There may be something that you may be able to glean from to help you live a better life, okay? So just again, today, my topic is managing the detours. After you've been in the low places and you're learning the lessons, you're gaining experience from being in those places, eventually you have to learn how to manage the detours. Stay with me. You all know I'm going somewhere with this. So me just being in my low places, they have caused me to just think about what I want to do with my life. They've caused me to think about where I want to go, how I want to move forward in my life. So I pray that managing the detours would just help you to get a better handle on what to do next, okay? So in managing the detours, let me tell you all a bit about my experience for those who are not familiar with me. I've always had a love for arts and entertainment. I've always been a very creative person. I've always enjoyed writing. I can recall winning awards in elementary school just from writing. And I noticed that that was a gift that I possessed. I love writing plays. I love just writing creative essays. I love just playing pretend. I've always had a love for those things, right? So as I progressed to middle school, I got in chorus. Well, it started in the 5th grade, actually. I got in chorus, and then I was in chorus from the 5th grade up until I graduated high school. And then when I was in high school, I became a part of a singing group. I was always in a choir at church and just things like that. So I really noticed that that was a talent or a gift that I possessed, right? So as time went on, I'm in these groups, I'm writing songs, doing music, just enjoying being in front of people. I was nervous initially, but once you get on stage, that fear, it really just goes away. So I noticed that that was a passion that I had. And throughout that time, I began to write songs. I transitioned from doing R&B to being in a gospel group with my sister. With my blood sister and just my sisters I gained along the way. So shout out to Pastor Latoya, Alicia Blandon, Lady Ashley McNair, Patricia Etheridge, Alexis Patterson. I can't remember your last name, married last name, Alexis. Apologize for that. And Angelica Wiggins. She was Angelica Patterson at the time. And anyone else that may have sang with Harmony, that's the group we were in along the way. Shout out to you all for helping us just enjoy that time period, right? So I'm singing gospel music, doing all these things, writing songs, and just really just trying to make it and establish myself as a gospel artist, right? I just knew this was the path that God laid out for me. So I just wanted to be a singer. I'm like, God, if I'm going to transition from doing R&B to gospel music, just help me. I really want to honor you with my gift. That was my goal, right? So as time would have it, we didn't stop singing, not intentionally. It just fizzled out. I moved to California. My sister started pastoring. Everybody just began to take different paths. So needless to say, there was no more harmony, if you will. So I just went with the flow. I'm in California. I got married. I'm doing my own thing, still trying to do arts and entertainment there. I started working as a publicist. So me being a singer, it kind of took the back burner. It wasn't intentional. I wrote a couple of songs when I was living in California, but again, music just began to take the back seat, and I started doing other things. And eventually I started getting discouraged because I felt like God forgot about me. And I felt like I began to grow a frustration because I knew that I was passionate about that. And that's something that I wanted to do. Right. So in that experience for me, me moving to California, me no longer singing on a regular full-time basis. Now, mind you, when I was in this group, we were traveling, opening up for different people. We had a lot of opportunities. I thought this was it. So me having to take a back seat and just feel like I was on a back burner, that just did something to me. But I will say, me going through that, it allowed me to discover other gifts and talents that I possessed, right? So in managing the detours, one of the things that you have to learn how to do is just how you have to learn how to embrace the pivots. You have to learn how to go with the flow. Now, I will say, one of the hardest things about me transitioning into other things, me picking up other gifts and talents that I possessed, it was hard because I felt like that meant that I wouldn't be able to do music again. But I'm learning throughout this process that sometimes God will put you in a pivot. He'll put you in a change, or he'll give you a sense of direction because he wants to cultivate other gifts within you. So don't feel like because something that you are primarily known for, because it's not happening the way that you want it, that does not mean that God won't allow you to work that gift. It just simply means that God is putting you on a different path. It means that he's leading you in a different direction. It doesn't mean that it's permanent, but it simply means that God could be trying to pull something out of you. He could be trying to cultivate another gift that's on the inside of you. Or God could be trying to get you to learn some other lessons about yourself. He could be trying to grow you in another area. God could be trying to mature you in another area. And y'all, this one right here, I thank God for this. God could be protecting you from another area. God could be protecting you from something that you don't see along the way. And that's one of the things that I thank God for, protecting me in the music industry when I wanted to do R&B. There are a lot of things, I will say this, and not to discredit those who do R&B music or secular music. There are things and dangers in all of the industries now. And I say that because everybody doing gospel music is not necessarily on the right path. They may say they're Christian, but their walk is not lining up. There are a lot of things that happen in either industry, either way you slice it, okay? There's some people that are not doing what they're supposed to do, no matter what musical genre you find yourself in. Let me put that out there first. So I thank God for protecting me, because I could have gotten out there, and honestly, when I was trying to do R&B music, I wasn't all the way on the Lord's side. I could be honest with that. I was in church, I had a relationship with God, but I really believe that had he allowed me access to certain places or arenas, I really would have been out there. I would have a whole bunch of kids. Your girl would have like a serious track record, because you never know. I could have ran into a certain star and just got turned out, or what have you. I just feel like Anything could have happened. Somebody could have slipped something in my drink, anything. I really don't think that I would be where I am now in my walk with God had he allowed me to go on the path that I originally intended to go on, right? So I can say that I'm thankful for the pivots and the changes that God has allowed me to go on. My biggest challenge was putting that aside to embrace other things. I've tried a t-shirt business. I got my massage therapy license. I have my own business. I'm into health and wellness now. And those have been things that I've always been passionate about. Even before I went to massage therapy school, I always enjoyed helping people relax. I always enjoyed giving people a cup of tea or just things to help people unwind. I've always enjoyed working out over the years because I dealt with just weight loss issues and various health challenges growing up. I went from plus size to being much smaller sizes. So I know that journey. So these were all things that were part of my life that God was allowing me to tap into. So I had to learn how to embrace those things. And I had to learn how to let God cultivate me in those areas. And I will say that's been a game changer for me. It has not been easy, but it allowed me to see that God gave me other talents. He gave me other gifts. He gave me other abilities. And I had to start digging in that soil, turning that soil over so that I could experience growth in those areas. What about those of you who God has given other talents to, but you're steadily focused on that one thing? It could be another gift or another talent that God has given you that if you tap into it, that may be the well that you need that could provide the increase. That well that you tap into could provide millions. It could open up doors that you never saw yourself walking through. Did I plan to have my own health and wellness business? No. I just knew that I enjoyed working out. But I didn't think that it would take primary place over me doing music and entertainment. I'm like, God, what are we doing here? I had an attitude initially because I felt like I had to quit. But I'm learning that this could open the door. What I'm doing now could open the door, and it could place me in front of different audiences that I would be able to share my music with one day eventually. So you have to learn that those pivots, they don't mean that your gifts won't be utilized. It just means that you're going on a different path to get to them. Okay? So the next thing, you going on a detour, is you have to learn how to just trust that God is going to lead you. He's going to lead you to the right people. He's going to lead you to the right places. He's going to connect you with the right people. And also while you're detouring, you have to learn how to allow God to just help you to shed, just like a snake sheds its skin. I can't think of another animal that sheds its skin, so I hate to use a snake. Let's say a butterfly. A butterfly goes into a cocoon, right? Before a caterpillar, a caterpillar. It goes into that cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. It goes into that cocoon or that cave, if you will, so that it can transition and to grow into something more beautiful, right? So just think of what you're going through right now as just a place of transition. It's going to help you become more settled. It's going to help you become stronger mentally, physically. It's going to help you grow in areas so when you get to a place where you can use your primary gift, you'll be ready for it. I honestly don't think at the time that I would have been ready each time that I tried to get on the stage, each time that I tried to make something happen. And I'm going to tell y'all this right here. Every time that I tried to put myself on, I would have money in place. I would reach out to different people. Hey, these are things that I want to do. And every time, and I ain't going to call no names, because God, the timing is all good. So I'm not going to call any names to try to shame anybody. But whenever I would have money or things in place, I would have money to put myself on. Some people I will call, have a conversation. And I've had conversations like, it's been like 2 years. And the person was like, okay, I'm going to call you back. I haven't heard from that person. And it's going on from that conversation to 2 years, right? And it's also been people I've reached out to. I've sent demos to things to, yeah, I got you. I would be set to go to different states to do some recording, to do some writing. I got you. Still haven't heard back. Still haven't gone to those places. Still haven't gotten phone calls back. Still haven't done the productions and demos and EPs that I wanted to do. And I had an attitude initially, I will say, but I have learned that timing is everything. And I really just had to be like, okay, God, what do you want me to learn from this, right? Help me not to get an attitude. Help me to trust that your timing is what's best. And honestly, I can say that I truly do have peace about it now. I have peace about waiting for God. I have peace about allowing God to line up who he wants me to work with. I have peace about God growing me, about God stretching me in ministry, about God taking me out of my comfort zone. I'll say that me being in ministry now, I am a minister. I'm seeing growth in those areas, and I'm seeing growth where God wants me to be more patient with people, or God wants me to show the same compassion that he shows for me. I'm learning how to show that compassion. I'm learning how to lead others. I'm learning how to be more effective in ministry and in the marketplace. And I honestly feel like that is going to help me be better, even better, when I get to that place where I can do the music. That is my true passion. I believe that I'll be a better person for that, okay? So while you're going on different paths, honestly, let me step back for a minute. Think about Rihanna, y'all. Rihanna was excelling as a singer, as a musician, as a songwriter. She was the complete package. She had the look, she had the sound, she had the people backing her. So for her to take a step back from music, and people just like, when is Rihanna going to put something else out? Rihanna pivoted, and she was honestly an inspiration for me getting peace about allowing God to redirect me. Rihanna had all of these talents in place, right? You all knew her for doing music, but what did she do? She transitioned into becoming just a beauty mogul, right? She transitioned. You've got Savage Fenty. You've got her skincare, her beauty line. You've got her athletic wear. You've got her lingerie. You have other things that she is well known for. That helped to make her become a billionaire. The music, nice addition, but her branching off and pivoting into doing something else was the game changer for her. So think about that. Think about somebody else that transitioned and they allow themselves to detour so that they could become a better person. That honestly helped me to get through and to realize, okay, God, I may not be Rihanna, but I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust this pivot and this spin and this change that you have me into. I don't see the end, but you do. So I have to learn how to trust those paths that you are leading me on. Okay, I hope this is helping somebody. So learn those lessons. You have to learn everything that God is pouring out at that time. And I will say this also, a lot of times I have experienced frustration along the way, like I said, because I just felt like God just dropped me. And God, why am I feeling like I'm going in circles? Why am I feeling like I'm never going to get there? Again, you have to trust that God knows what he's doing. And how do you begin to trust that God knows what he's doing? How do you begin to trust God when it seems like God is mishandling you? How do you trust God? Oh my God, I feel the Spirit of the Lord. I'm gonna try to push back off of this. How do you trust God when he's not saying anything that you want to hear? How do you trust God when it's like his voice it just seems like it's getting further and further and further away from you? What do? Honestly, some things only come by prayer and fasting. Sometimes you're going to have to deny yourself. Sometimes you're going to have to just pull away. Sometimes you're going to really just have to press in into the presence of God. Sometimes you're going to have to just stop and take a break. I told you guys on the last episode that God has been telling me to rest for the longest. Sometimes you're just going to have to be still, literally. You're going to have to get somewhere and sit down, as the older people used to say. I'm from the South. Sometimes you just have to get somewhere and sit down, okay? It's hard to hear that still small voice when you're all over the place, right? When Elijah in the Bible When he was in a cave, right? God came in different ways. He thought he was in a fire. He thought it was in the wind. But eventually, God showed up when Elijah just got quiet. Just like that. That pause, that stillness that you just heard a second ago. That's when God spoke. He spoke in the stillness. He spoke when Elijah quieted himself. That's when God speaks. When you let go of everything, every distraction, everything that's taking you off course. When you put the phone down, when you get off Instagram, when you get off Facebook, when you get off the game you're playing, or whatever it is that has your attention, that's when God speaks. That's when God provides instruction. He does. And I honestly believe, I told you all that I'm a dreamer as well. God speaks to me the most when I'm asleep because he knows that I'm not doing anything else. And I honestly believe that's when God is like, okay, I can give her some more information. I can download something else into her because I'm not doing anything. I'm resting, right? That's why it's important for us to have peaceful places that we can relax and peaceful environments where we can sleep. Your bedroom, if I don't know, just make it a peaceful environment so you can hear from God, especially those of us who dream, whose primary method of communication from God is through your dream. Make sure that that environment is peaceful so that God can speak to you. And I will say that one thing that helps me to hear from God even more clearly, I don't watch anything violent or crazy before I go to sleep because that affects how I dream and how I hear from God. If I'm going to watch TV, I don't watch a lot of it. I normally binge watch something, and it's normally on a Sunday. I just watch everything at one time. But I try not to watch just a lot of crazy things, violent things before I go to sleep because I want to hear God. If I'm watching something before I go to bed, it also would be something like a comedy cartoon. I'm big on Disney stuff. It has to be something light. I just don't want my dreams to be thrown off. So some of you may have to just find a place of rest so you can hear from God. A few weeks ago, I went to stay with my aunt. She lives in Wilmington near the beach. She's near all of this water, and it's just a different environment. And I knew that I needed to get out of the environment that I was in so that I could rest and so that I could hear from God. So when I went there, I didn't turn on the TV until that afternoon when I was there. I opened up her patio door. I sat there. I listened to the birds. I just felt the breeze blowing, and I read. And I just sat there. I became one with nature, and I just took in the surroundings of my environment. It was peaceful. It was quiet. And it just helped me to just be. Sometimes we're so focused on making things happen that we don't have space. We don't make space for the downtime. But you have to learn how to make that space and how to create moments of respite, how to create moments of rest so that you can gain the clarity. Clarity comes when you're quiet. Clarity comes when you're still. But you won't ever hear God if you're always on the go. So for somebody today, you're listening, just slow down a bit. Be intentional about getting away. And I'll also say, I didn't log on to my computer. I didn't worry about the emails. I didn't check in with social media when I was away because that was my time for me to refresh. And when you're not resting, that's when the sicknesses comes. I don't even know how I got out here. Somebody needs to hear this. But when you're not resting, your body is more prone to the illness or the inflammation or the pain, different issues in your body, the tightness, the stiffness in your shoulders and in your body. That comes when you don't rest. That comes when your mind is not at ease. I'm telling you, just the other day, I noticed that I was having issues moving around. I just did not feel like myself. I was sluggish. And someone ended up praying for me after I left Bible study. And they began to pray strength for my body. And that person had no idea that I was hurting and that I was in pain. But I'm thankful that they were tapped in enough to pray strength for me. And I realized that I was hurting because my mind was all over the place. So for somebody listening today, just step away. Step away and take a break before you come back, okay? So I pray that I've helped somebody today. You have to learn how to manage those detours. You taking a different path. It does not mean that you won't get to live your dream. That's what has given me so much comfort in what I'm going through right now. That's given me a lot of peace, because one thing that I know about God, He can't lie. So all of those things that God has spoken over my life, all of those words of prophecy that I've received, I'm going to walk in those things one day, but I'm going to walk into those in God's timing. So in the meantime, I'm still learning how to cultivate the other gifts that I have, and trusting that God is going to lead me eventually on the path for me to be able to do music and to live out my dreams. Okay. So for someone who may be discouraged, you feel like your dream hasn't happened yet, be encouraged. God is going to allow you to live in that dream. He will. That has given me so much peace. Honestly, just in the last couple of months, I have peace because I know that God can't lie. And when you learn how to just trust God, and when you learn how to embrace God for who He is. I had a conversation with one of my sisters. I call her my sister. We've been close over the years. It's my ex-husband's, his cousin. We're very close, and we had a conversation, and in that conversation she shared that a lot of times we relate to God in ways that we've related to our parents. So if your parents were hard or just disciplined, and we kind of begin to fear our parents, so to speak, that's the same way that we learn how to see God. And looking back over how I grew up over the years, just thinking about what she said, I've honestly viewed God in that manner. I viewed God as a dictator. I viewed God as if He's punishing me. But really just recently, I've had to learn how. I've had to ask God, God, help me to see You in a new way. God, help me to see You as my Father. Help me to see You as my protector. Help me to see You as my provider. Help me to see You as the loving God that You are. Now, that doesn't mean that God is a pushover, because God does discipline us. God chastens us because He loves us. But primarily, God's main objective is to take care of us and to care for us and to love us. God loved us so much that He gave His Son to die for us. You won't find a better love than that. So I've been asking God, help me to see You the way that I need to. I'm asking God to reprogram my mind and the way I think about Him and the way that I see Him. And when things don't happen the way that I want them to happen, or when I'm going on a path that's different than how I wrote it out, when I'm on a path that's different than how I journaled it, it doesn't mean that God doesn't love me. Somebody needs to hear that. God loves you. He loves you right where you are. He loves you on the path that you're on. God loves you because your history, your chapters have already been written out before Him, right? While you were in heaven, before you came through your mother's womb, and before you leave this earth, God knows everything that is going to happen with your life, and He still loves you. He loves you on your good days. He loves you when you don't make the best decisions. He loves you. So that's what I've had to learn. And I'm getting stronger every day. I don't have a good day every day, but I'm trusting that even on my bad days, that God is still good, right? So when you learn how to manage those detours, when you learn how to manage the different paths that God has you on, I'm telling you, the game changes. Okay, so learn how to manage those detours. Learn how to trust God through those processes, through those different things that He's teaching you. Learn how to trust God when the road gets challenging. Learn how to trust God when you see that little blinking sign, detour ahead, make a right, go over here, right? It doesn't always make sense. You may not always see the next step in front of you, but trust God to lead you. Trust that God, even though you're venturing off that path that you set for yourself, you have to trust that God is not going to run out of gas on this journey that you're on, okay? I hope that I have said something that has been a blessing to your life. I'm telling you all, let's learn how to manage those detours. I'm telling you, you're going to come out stronger. You're going to come out better. And I pray sincerely that you come out richer, okay? Okay? I'm telling you, I trust that God is going to load us up with benefits for taking the scenic route. Thank you all for sitting with me in Lakita's room today. And until next time, we'll talk soon. Take care.